gentlemen, welcome to the upcoming video games of April 2016. I'm Globku from Magical Noob, taking you through the main releases of the month. We start strong on April 5th with the launch of the HTC Vive. This is HTC and Valve's VR headset, launching at $800 bundled with 2 motion controllers. The headset utilizes room scale technology, allowing the user to walk freely in a virtual environment if it has enough space to walk at home. There are a lot of games releasing with the HTC. We can make a whole other video just focused on those games, but we'll highlight a couple of them here on this video. Job Simulator: The 2015 Archives lets you play as a robot in the future, doing what it thinks were the jobs we do nowadays. It sounds like a really silly thing that might be a ton of fun. Arizona Sunshine looks like the most generic zombie game out there, but taken into a VR experience might actually make it meaningful. Nothing like having a zombie right in your face and having to actually aim with the motion controls and reload your weapon to really feel the pressure of the zombie apocalypse. And Cloudlands VR Mini Golf, another example of how motion controls paired up with VR can make a mundane game something that could actually be interesting. There's a lot of other games coming out with a Vive, but I hope these 3 give you an idea of the variety of this lineup. It is quite the expensive headset, but if you've got the money and the space in your house to use the room scale functionality, this seems to be the best VR option for now. But back to our boring traditional plain video games. Still on April 5th, we got Enter the Gungeon. This is a Devolver Digital title with the usual pixel art style. It's a bullet hell dungeon crawler with local co-op. It seems frenetic as hell and also seems to have some really cool and interesting weapons. Dirt Rally comes out on the same day for consoles, followed by the PC 2 days later. It's a rally game by Codemasters, so you know it's good. If you're a fan of the previous Dirt games or even the old school Codemasters rally games, I'd give this one a try. These guys have been developing Rally for ages now. They know what they're doing. Dead Star is an online multiplayer space shooter. It is fast-paced, it uses procedurally generated battlefields, and supports up to 10v10 multiplayer matches. You can use different ships, and you've got a good amount of customization options to look distinct in outer space. Quantum Break also comes out on the 5th for the Xbox One and PC. This is a story-driven third-person shooter with time-bending powers. At the end of each in-game chapter, you'll have a choice to make, and you'll see the consequences of that choice reflected in a live-action cutscene that works kinda like a TV show, meaning it will be a 20-minute long cutscene. It's an interesting concept and I'm really curious to check it out and see if it works. Flat Kingdom comes out on the 7th. It's a 2D platformer not only in gameplay but also in setting. Your goal as this 2D shape-shifting creature is to stop the 3D curse that is threatening to destroy the world as we know it. A Blind Legend is another interesting concept that I can't wait to see if it works or not. It's a game without video. You experience it as a completely blind person. My big question is if there's an actual game here or if you're just listening to the sound clip and guessing what's happening. I guess we'll know on April 7th. Warden Melody of the Undergrowth seems to be a Zelda-like title, or at least that's the vibe I'm getting. It's got a pretty neat art style. You can pick up your enemies' weapons and use them, so it's also got a decent arsenal. And overall, the creature design and the different areas really caught my attention. Dark Souls 3 is arriving at the West on April 12th. The gameplay is a lot faster than the original Dark Souls, closer to Bloodborne levels, but not quite. But it still has a ton of weapons and build possibilities, which was one of Bloodborne's flaws. We've got a brand new world designed by From Software's mastermind Hidetaka Miyazaki with really good boss fights. Yes, I've been playing a lot of this game already. It's pretty damn awesome. Ratchet Clank comes out on the same day. It is a reimagined version of the original Ratchet Clank for the PlayStation 2. It's not just an HD remake or a remastered version as we usually get. There's something here for both newcomers and returning fans of Ratchet & Clank. If you're not familiar, it is a third-person shooter slash platformer with a ton of crazy weapons and really engaging characters. Stories: A Path of Destinies is an isometric action game where you have to make choices that seem to be very significant to the game that you play. Save your friend or get a really powerful sword. The choices you make will affect the story and the game itself in a way that seems more drastic than usual, which makes this something I'm actually interested in having a look at. Bravely Second and Layer is the sequel to Bravely Default that came out a year ago in Japan and earlier this year in Europe. This 3DS exclusive finally makes its way to North America on April 15. Danganronpa 2 Goodbye Despair is coming to the PC in a similar fashion as the first Danganronpa did in February. The PSP game ported to the Vita, ported to the PC. Goodbye Despair plays very similar to Trigger Happy Havoc with a few new elements and continuing its story. Invisible Ink was one of the best turn-based strategy games to have come out in recent years. It's now available on the PC and soon will be on the PlayStation 4 as well. The sequel to the Banner Saga is also coming out on the 19th. month, it's bringing some new elements to the turn-based battle system, which is a really good one, but most of the fans come to this game for its story. Choices that you made in the first Banner Saga will impact this one, meaning you might actually start with a few dead characters, depending on how you play the first game. But everything else, like the art style and animations, look really solid as usual. Poland comes out for PC and both VR headsets on the 20th. It's a first-person exploration game set in Saturn's moon, Titan. It's mysterious and apparently takes some inspiration from Gone Home. You use a controller to move around and interact with the environment, so the VR element is really just there for immersion and camera control. Battlefleet Gothic Armada is our real-time strategy game for this month. It's set in the Warhammer 40k universe and you control a fleet of spaceships from one of the 4 available factions. Players will be able to customize all aspects of the ship, like weaponry, defense, and support subsystems, so it seems like quite the complex game, which usually is a good thing for this genre, as long as the game is good at teaching new players. Star Fox Zero lets you fly in the air and shoot at other ships like a classic Star Fox game, and also lets your ship transform into a bipedal robot that runs on land. Oh, and also do battle rolls. There we go. King's Quest has a new chapter coming out in April. This has been touted as one of the best modern adventure games so much that I've been inclined to try it out a couple of times, but maybe I'll let all the chapters come out before I dive in. I'm not a fan of the episodic stuff. Anyway, it looks really good, and chapter 3 comes out on the 26th. We talked about Alienation last month, but it seems to have been delayed, so I won't talk about it too much today, but it is now coming out on April 26th. It's an isometric shooter with 4-player co-op exclusive for PlayStation 4. And we end the month with another adventure game. Me not being a big fan of adventure games in general, I'm inclined not to try this, but it has a really nice look, and if I was an adventure game fan, I would probably want to try out Ira. It takes place in an alternate reality where the space age coincides with the 1930s Depression era. And those are the video games we decided to highlight this month. As usual, let us know in the comments below which games you're looking forward to playing this month. It might very well dictate what we choose to focus on this channel. While you're down there, click that like button if you enjoyed the video and subscribe for more gaming goodness. I've been Globku. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time. Boy!